Welcome to this week's MoneyFit Live webinar. I'm Todd Christensen, Education Manager at MoneyFit by DRS and author of Everyday Money for Everyday People. This week's topic, where are you going to get your free credit score? You probably already know to get your free credit report, you go to www.annualcreditreport.com. The law that went into effect back in 2004, was passed in 2003, said that every 12 months you can get a free credit report from each of the three main consumer reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, at annualcreditreport.com. But what about your credit score? Where do you find those? That's what we're going to be diving into today. Let's just get right into the basics here. What's the difference between that credit report and your credit score? I like the analogy of taking you back to school, thinking about your teacher's grade book. Now, depending on your generation, teacher may have actually had a hard copy. I can remember the green and white striped lined pages where teachers would include all that you've ever done in their classroom, all the assignments, the projects, the homework, the tests, the quizzes, the final exams, that all got noted in the grade book. That's like your credit report or your credit history. Anything you've done with credit in the last 7 to 10 years is going to be noted on your credit report. But while it's important and it serves as the basis for your end of quarter or end of semester grade, it's the grade that most people are looking for. And that's what the credit score is. So the credit report also can be termed credit history, credit record, credit file. The credit score can also sometimes be known as the credit rating. But that's the difference. The credit score is kind of like that grade. It is, though it's not generated just once every semester, it is generated whenever somebody pulls the score. That's when your score is generated. It's not sitting on a shelf somewhere or in some hidden digital file waiting to be withdrawn. It's not generated except when somebody pulls your score. That's when it's generated. All the information that's currently on your credit report goes through this credit scoring statistical model and spits out your score on the other end. That's the difference between your credit score and your credit report. So what is the score's purpose? What is it there for? You have the credit report that has all the history and everything. The score, we take it way too personally, and it's true. It feels very personal. We feel like we're being judged, and that's the way we were raised growing up, getting grades, and part of those grades included behavior. And so we think, well, it's a credit score, so it must be a reflection of who I am as a person and my responsibility and how I'm trying, and it's not. Some organizations might try and use it that way. The reality, though, is your credit score, all it is, it's trying to predict future behavior, not reflect your past behavior. It is simply trying to predict, are you likely or unlikely to pay your debts in the future on time, especially near future debts. The best predictor of near future behavior is recent past behavior. That's how credit scores work. They look at what you've done with debt recently in the last 7 to 10 years, but things that are less than a few months old to up to 6 months, 9 months, that has a lot more impact on your credit rating than things that happened 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Your credit score is just trying to tell potential lenders how likely is this person to pay their debts, any new debts, on time as agreed. It doesn't matter the reason why. If you have low credit rating, it doesn't matter the reason. It doesn't matter how hard you tried. The reality is if you have a very low credit rating, statistics show that it's unlikely that you're going to be able to make additional debt payments in the near future as agreed. A lender basically would look at that and say, well, it's not going to be a loan. It's just going to be a donation. Lenders have to understand they're not charities. They're not giving away money. They have, if you have any kind of investment, 401k, any kind of investment in any kind of stock or mutual fund, you likely own a portion of many banks out there. So it's your money when a bank loses money. It's not the bank's money, it's your money. So it's something that you got to understand. It's not personal. Yes, it feels personal, but the score is just trying to predict, regardless of the reason, how likely we are to pay our debts in the future. That's all it is. It's not perfect. I think those who work the credit bureaus will say it's not perfect. It doesn't get it right every single time, but it's pretty darn close. It's so close that banks can make decisions that they'll put thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line at risk, quite often based not solely but heavily on the credit rating of an individual. So they wouldn't do that if it weren't at least close. That's the credit score versus credit report. Okay, so let's talk about FICO. FICO is the main, they're the main consumer or credit scoring company in the US and world for that matter. They essentially have a monopoly on most credit-based decisions in this country. Somewhere between 90 and 95% of all credit-based decisions, so loans for homes, cars, credit cards, bank loans, anything going through a lender will most likely use a FICO score. And there's not just one FICO score, there are many FICO scores. A lot of people think, well, yeah, there's not one FICO score, there's 3 FICO scores, right? Because there's Experian has a FICO, and Equifax has a FICO, and TransUnion has a FICO. There's many more than that as well. There are 10 versions, 11 versions. I think the latest FICO as of the recording of this webinar is version 10, released in early 2020. But those are only the ones that are numbered. There are dozens of FICO scores for different industries and different versions. So if you say, I know what my FICO score is, depends on which credit scoring model you're using. But a FICO score is a measure of your credit risk. That's what a score is. All right, there is one other major or well-known credit score, and that is the VantageScore. FICO was created by, literally, it was Fair Isaac and Associates early on, back in the early mid-1950s. Mr. Fair and Mr. Isaac got together and they formed a company. Eventually, it was shortened to Fair Isaac Company, and then just FICO, Fair Isaac Co. So FICO. In the early 2000s, the credit consumer reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, jointly released their own credit score, and it's called VantageScore, the VantageScore. It is currently on version 4.0, and it is the most common free score, by far, the most common free score that you will find on the market. So when we're talking about where to get a free credit score, and I'll specify which one it is, most of the time it's going to be a VantageScore. Is it similar? Yes. It looks at many of the same factors that a FICO score looks at. Your credit balance, your available balance, your credit mix, what types of loans you might have, your payment history, your how long the accounts have been open, and then any new accounts you're looking at. But they do weight things a little differently. And although the score does now go from 300 up to 850, just like the FICO score, originally the VantageScore was released as something that looked more like an American school grade, A, B, C, D, and F. The score had a number. It was 900, like an A would have been 900 and 990, B 800 to 890, C 700 to 790. There was a 10-point no man's land in there for some reason. So it never really did get it right, and people didn't adjust to it, and lenders didn't want to have to adjust their database to work with that score range. So in 2013, I believe VantageScore changed to match the FICO score range, the 300 on the very low end up to 850 on the high end. But your VantageScore will be a little different. There's going to be a 10-15% difference quite often between your VantageScore and your FICO score. For example, I've never met anybody with I'm sure there are, but I've never met anybody in my over a decade and a half of working with consumers who had a credit score on a FICO in the 300 range. I've met many in the upper 400s, especially those who have gone through bankruptcy, but none in the 300 range. I have heard of many more who have a 300 score in the Vantage under the VantageScore. It's still not many. It's still pretty low, and it's not, I wouldn't say easy to get, but it's not very common. Okay, as I mentioned, the most common score that is available is the VantageScore, by far. If you're going to get a free credit score, almost always, I'd probably say 75 to 80% of the time is going to be a VantageScore. So where do you get these scores? Let's go through these. I've organized them by how you, first we're going to talk about how to get them with a membership. You'll get it free if you're a member of a certain organization or if you have a credit card through a certain credit card company. And then we'll go through credit unions, and then we'll go through opportunities to get a free credit score even if you don't, without having to sign up for a membership or to carry a card. So with a card, here are just some examples. These are different companies that offer a free credit score if you have a credit card with them or if you have a membership with them. And most of them are credit cards. You'll see here it does look like FICO does have the advantage as far as a free score. It is true. Most of these are FICO scores. The reason for that is these are companies that are already pulling your FICO score when they look at your credit card. And then maybe they're doing any kind of account updates or reviews, they already have your FICO score. And FICO, a few years ago, began allowing companies to share our FICO scores with us as the consumers. That's why you'll see a lot of FICO scores free with a membership or with a card already. It's similarly, but a different program for credit unions. A lot of the credit unions will offer you a free credit score if they participate in FICO's open access program. So there's not a list of actual credit unions here. There's far too many to put on this page. Call if you belong to a credit union, call your credit union, ask them if they offer a free credit score, and you can always shop around if you're looking to join a credit union that does. But it's the FICO Open Access program that you would be looking for there. Now here's these last few screens here. These are places where you can get a free credit score. You're going to have to sign up for an account at these organizations, but you're not joining You're not joining any kind of a membership organization. You're not having to sign up for a credit card or a financial account. So right off the bat here, if you want a place where you can get your credit score updated every month, you can start with credit.com. You get a free VantageScore, and overwhelmingly, if you're going to get a free VantageScore right now, it's 3.0. The 4.0, it's uncommon to get a free version of that. But the free VantageScore you'll see at credit.com and creditsesame.com. Many of these places will also offer you some free credit monitoring services. A lot of them will work in the freemium, what they call freemium space, where they'll offer you a lot of free services like the free credit score and credit monitoring alerts if there's something changes. And then if you want additional services, they offer some upgraded services that you can pay for. But if you're just looking for a free credit score once a month, Here you go. You'll notice they're almost all VantageScores except the two, the Discover card and then the free CreditScore.com, which is actually run by Experian. That's where you can get one of the, I think it's version 8 currently of your FICO score. Now, what if you want to get your credit score weekly? Even monthly, your credit score, what you really need to focus on. If you want good credit, focus on your report. Your credit score, again, is the grade. If you only focus on the grade and not focus on your homework and your tests and your quizzes and things, your grade doesn't really matter. It's not gonna reflect any kind of work. You need to focus on building your credit. Same thing with your credit scores. Don't fixate on your credit scores. There are people that will fixate on having excellent credit. Check out some of our other MoneyFit Live webinars that particularly from May 2020, you'll find some topics on the credit range, what a credit score is, and what your score means at different ranges. But just to be brief, really anything above about a 760, 770, all the way up to 850, there's no difference in what they do for you. It's just bragging rights. And so trying to get a better score than somebody else, it's really it's a waste of your energies. Focus on your credit rating, not on your score. Okay, well, if you did want a credit score or if you did want a service where you can look at your credit score weekly, and this might be valuable if you are maybe getting ready to buy a home in the next month or 2 or 3, and you want to just kind of follow trends, see which direction your score is going. This would not a bad idea. You can go to AmericanExpress.com. Even though that's a credit card company, you can sign up for a free credit score that you can update every week. Again, that's a VantageScore, like the rest of these. You can also go to CreditWise with CapitalOne.com or Capital One Bank. CreditWise is an app. They have a very nice app. In fact, one of the things I like about CreditWise, it has a credit score estimator. That looks at what your credit score is now, and then you punch in what might be changing. You might be paying off a debt. What's that going to do for your credit score? And it'll give you an idea. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll give you an idea of what how your score might change. Chase also, Chase Journey has a free credit score every week. Credit Karma, one of the most popular programs. Credit Karma, CreditWise, Credit Sesame on the previous one. They all have very well put together apps that you can use on your phone if you want it. So you can just look at your credit score every week right there in the palm of your hand. NerdWallet.com. I just love saying that. And then Rocket HQ. It's, I believe, from Quicken Loans. They offer also you a free credit score every week. So are there any that if you really wanted to focus on your credit score and see if it changes on a day-to-day basis, are there any programs that do that? Yes. And again, overkill? Yes. But for some people, like I say, getting ready to make a major purchase, it might be a value to you to see where your score is going on any given day and be ready to, because if your score drops or if your score goes up by 10, 15 points for whatever reason, hopefully not unexpectedly, that would be a really good time then to go in and get that home loan, for example. Mint.com. Of course, Mint has a very slick app as well. They can offer you a free Vantage score every day. It'll update every day. And then there's only 2. So the second one is Wallet Hub, where you can get a free Vantage score as well. These are both Vantage scores. You're not going to get a free FICO every day. But Vantage score is good to know because, again, it may not be the score that your lenders are using, but you're watching for patterns. If your Vantage score is going up, your credit score is likely, your FICO score is also likely going up. If your Vantage score goes down, that was unexpected, you need to take a look at your credit report to see what is it that's going on so that you can correct or minimize any damage to your score. And that's it. If you would like, if you found this of value, please do like this webinar. Click on the thumbs up icon here, and then consider subscribing. We'll let you know each week as we have a new webinar coming out every Thursday, generally every Thursday except on holidays, at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, and then 1:30 p.m. at Eastern. You can find them on our website at moneyfit.org/live. You can find this and other webinars that we've done in the past, find them in our archives through that same website at moneyfit.org/live. Click on the view previous webinars. And they're all free. If there is a reason why you would like to get a certificate of completion for this webinar, there's the passcode FreeScores20. All you have to do is email that to me with your name. My email address and my phone number are down there at the bottom. Email is Todd, T-O-D-D, @moneyfit.org. Send me the passcode, the name of this webinar, which is where to get free credit scores, and your name, how you want it to look on your certificate, and I will get it back out to you in case that would be of help for any sort of continuing education. But we are always available for educational and counseling services. Do give us a call if you have questions about credit, about debt, about budgeting, about saving. That's why we are a nonprofit. And we have programs for debt management, for student loan counseling, even for people who are getting ready to go through bankruptcy. So please use our services if we can help. We look forward to hearing from you. Wish you all the best. Have a great day.